Welcome Virgo to your in-depth weekly forecast for week commencing the 18th of March for the Ascendant, the Sun or the Moon. As last week came to a close, the Moon was really high in the sky for you personally, the 10th house. However you were feeling, it was probably hard to disguise it. But it was squaring up to the Neptune cazimi, which occurred as last week closed on Sunday. And that's the start of this week's story. The application of that quarter moon is still there because it provides a backdrop for the whole of this week. And the Sun being in a conjunction with Neptune in your sector of relating has a number of different facets. If you're really in touch with someone and very close, this can be a magical energy that you experience at the start of this week. If you're trying to connect to someone but they seem elusive, you don't quite know where you stand, they're not returning your calls, there's a mystery there which you find intriguing, but also a frustration that you're not absolutely sure of what the score is. That's equally possible with the Sun and Neptune together. But as the week goes on Wednesday the Sun moves out of your sector of relating and moves into the 8th house. The 7th house is almost like the conversation. The 8th house is the outcome, because the 8th house is the sector of transformation. But the Sun moving there into Aries is the start of the Western tropical astrological year. And it actually forges a brilliant link to Pluto. If you're wanting to be more entrepreneurial, marshal your resources shrewdly, perhaps develop a business idea even further. If you want to get a job that gives you an opportunity to use your skills in terms of managing resources more astutely, then that's a great change. But it may mean breaking free of some kind of relationship that you have at the present time, but it doesn't have to be in a romantic context. Now, as the week goes on, Venus, which is in your 7th house, encouraging you to be diplomatic, moves into a freezing embrace with Saturn. If you've got a relationship in your work with a friend, a neighbour, a sibling, or a partner which is not going so well, and you're feeling it's more give than get, you may want to really assert yourself with Venus applying to Saturn, which becomes exact on Friday. But also on Friday, Mars moves into your 7th house, replacing the Sun, and this brings much more thrust and steeliness. If someone isn't listening and isn't respecting you, you're going to set your boundary really much more firmly, not just at the end of this week, but right through to the end of April. But it can work in another way. If you're not in a relationship at the moment, Mars being in the 7th house can give you much more desire to connect. But also Venus and Jupiter, along with Uranus in a very experimental part of your situation, a very adventurous one. If you do meet someone towards the end of this week that you find really makes your pulse race, this relationship could turn out to be very lucky, but it may mean that you're the one who has to make the first move. And if you're someone who's usually a little bit tentative about doing that, you don't want to expose yourself, don't want to take the risk, you can stay safe, but an opportunity may pass you by. It's that critical, the set of influences at the end of this week, as far as your relationships are concerned. But it may mean that you can connect to someone in a non-romantic way, but who has a shared set of values or an interest that you can mutually coalesce around. But that energy of the Sun moving into your 8th house, joining up with your ruler Mercury, the North Node and Chiron, the 8th house is about transformations, and some big transformations are coming for you over the next 6 months, not least because the solar eclipse on the 8th of April is combining with Chiron, the wounded healer. And if intimacy or deep connections has been an area that you're not really feeling rewarded around, I think the energies of this week are really going to sharpen up your understanding of what you want, what you're prepared to give, but also what you're not prepared to accept. So it just depends whether you're a free spirit at the moment but would like to meet someone, or if you're in a relationship which is going well, that can get deeper, But if you're in a relationship which is not working so good, I think the time has come when you're going to say how you feel. You can use a certain amount of charm through Venus, but a certain amount of assertion through Mars.